We have a great guest today. I'd like to welcome Lorne Sugarman, CEO and Director of the Metaverse Group. He has extensive operating, investment banking, and principal investing experience. Prior to the Metaverse Group, Lorne was the CEO of WellPoint Health Services. He also spent 20 plus years in advisory services with GMP Securities, KES 7 Capital Inc., Deloitte Consulting, Deloitte & Touche. And wow, extensive resume there, Lorne. I'd like to welcome you to the show today and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Alan, and thank you to your listeners and viewers. Really appreciate the opportunity to chat with everyone today about all things Metaverse.
Excellent, excellent. So I thought we would have sort of an informal chat. You're the expert on the Metaverse. And so I guess to start with, I guess the first question I would obviously ask is, what is the Metaverse? And being CEO of the Metaverse Group, can you tell us what your company does? What's an average day look like at the Metaverse Group?
Sure. So that's great and appreciate that. The Metaverse gets so many different connotations and definitions. And the way I define it very simply is it's any 3D experience that one has. And so we go back to Second Life, Sims. Some of you may be familiar with that. It really began that far back, but bringing it into today's context, it goes from Decentraland and Sandbox, which again, some of you may be familiar with, are decentralized virtual worlds, to things that some others might be much more familiar with, Roblox that our kids play, Minecraft, Fortnite, etc. And while those are walled gardens, they're still metaverses. And the reason they're still metaverses in our view is they're really cool 3D experiences where they're interactive and you are engaged and deep into an experience. You don't need glasses, wonderful virtual reality glasses, or anything to have what we view as a metaverse experience. And so what Metaverse Group really does is we're all about creating those experiences. Again, we do those 3D experiences. We just did the Metaverse Fashion Week that was held last week. Lost track of my dates. We had companies like DKNY as our clients, Lancia, which is a car company, Miami Fashion Week, Dolce & Gabbana, and many, many others, and had amazing experiences and fun with them, and everything, from interactive experiences with DJs to, digital wearables and proof of attendance events and all those types of great stuff, and had over 25,000 people attend. 10,000 specifically the DKNY experience, and even amazing dwell time, over 18 plus minutes spent at our DKNY events.
Wow. So you're able to attend these fashion shows, I guess, right in the own comfort of your home, I guess is what you're saying.
100%. So there's two ways that make it really simple for you in your own home. There are some where you just do it browser-based. So, I'm sitting on my desktop today. As an example, I can just go to decentraland.org and enter the experience. I can click on as a guest, and it's really simple for me to enter. Otherwise, there are like Roblox and others that are, downloads. Again, pretty simple downloads. And what's even more exciting about this, which going back to my days as an investment banker, is when the mobile world came on board, we brought billions of users on board, and companies like Spatial, which is another virtual world, allows you to do it on a mobile basis. So does Roblox. Really simple.
Really simple. So I guess there's more than one metaverse, right? It sounds like you can enter into many types of metaverses. I don't know if that's the right terminology. So how many are there? Like, is it indefinite or?
So, it's hard for me to keep track. I used to keep track of all of them. So what I call them is virtual worlds. And just like we have one internet today, I believe we have one metaverse. Doesn't quite work yet because these different virtual worlds aren't all interoperable. They don't allow us, like we can get on one regular internet and jump from site to site by, typing in www. something. But there are, at least in our latest tracking, over 300 different virtual worlds that are being created out there today. Obviously, with the backdrop of the tech markets and the funding environment and the crypto winter, as I'll put it, I'm sure some of those will disappear and are disappearing at this point in time. But there are multiples of them that provide different experiences, no different than social media today, where there's Instagram and Twitter and Twitch and TikTok, etc. And we'll choose what is best for our experiences. And frankly, our customers, the corporations, the brands, etc., will work with them to decide, hey, this platform makes the best sense or that platform makes the best sense.
So obviously we're a financial show. And so kind of tying it back to finance here, how can someone invest in the metaverse? Obviously, you can invest in companies that, such as Meta itself, formerly Facebook, and buy the stock there. But you could also invest, as I'm being told, in, for example, property, real estate in the metaverse. How does that work? And obviously, when we buy property here in actual land in our world here, obviously land is a very a commodity that is not everywhere. Obviously, most of the land here has been built on. But in the metaverse, I would think there's lots of places you could buy real estate. And I've heard outrageous amounts of money being spent on land or real estate in the metaverse. How does that work?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and you're right. There's public equities that one can play be part of. Like I said, Roblox. You said Meta, but there's also, as you pointed out, virtual land or virtual real estate, as we refer to it. So today we own over 500 NFTs in places like Decentraland, Sandbox, Urbit, Superworld, etc. That are these digital real estate pieces. And our thesis is quite simple, is that just like traditional real estate, we're there to create a yield. And so we charge people rent to use our land, and we'll create experiences for them. Or, like it's an example of DKNY, we built out their virtual store. We did this with KB Home as another example. And we created an experience, and they pay us rent to use that store or to use that piece of real estate. And it creates value for it, because I believe, just like, physical real estate in downtown Toronto, as an example, if it's creating yield and you have tenants, there's value there. And so we've looked at it from that perspective. We believe that location is extremely important. So again, just like physical real estate, you want to be close to roads, you want to be close to key locations. So the center of a specific geographic area, i.e. the downtown, as an example. And so we think about all those metrics when determining which locations we want to locate ourselves in. It doesn't apply to every virtual world, and not every virtual world has a land model, but it does apply in certain virtual worlds that do have these land models and do have the ability for you to transport yourself from one location to the next.
But I guess, like owning land in Toronto, there's only so much land, but in these virtual worlds, it's probably unlimited, right? You could have many different companies, I guess, having space in the virtual world, can't you?
So that, again, it varies from virtual world to virtual world. I'll pick on Decentraland today. They have 90,000 parcels of land that exist in all of Decentraland. 45,000 are in the community. The rest are used for, green space or other items that Decentraland community centers for Decentraland. And those 45,000, it would require all the landholders as well as the token holders to agree to distribute more land. And that obviously would be a deflationary act. There might be reasons to have deflationary acts, but I would expect that no one really wants to see the value of their land going down. So there is a capped amount of land in that particular virtual world. And other virtual worlds, like Other Side, have committed to caps on the amount of land. And so there are caps in specific worlds. Again, not every virtual world will do this, and not every virtual world has land to sell, but there are caps that make you feel like downtown Toronto.
So I'm going to ask you kind of a question that popped into my head. So when these people go on to these virtual worlds and you go, I guess you could go shopping or you could go looking for items. How is that different than going online and shopping through Amazon or shopping through, some website like that, equivalent like that? Is it much different? Is it similar?
So my view is it is much different, and the reason it is much different is you now have, instead of a traditional static 2D website like Amazon, where you're scrolling through lists and lists of items, you actually get a 3D image of that particular good. You can touch on that good. You can ultimately, we'll get to a point where your avatars can actually try on that good. And when we really get there good with the technology, you yourself would be able to try on that good and see how it looks on yourself. I'm sure we've seen some of this before with like Ray-Ban sunglasses or other things like that, where there's technologies out there that allow you to do this. So it's a much more immersive, deep experience. I pick on my daughter. She's 15, and I know that she loves to shop online. It would be much more a fun experience if she could do it with her friends, with avatars, try it on, see how it looks, just like you were going to a regular mall. Instead, you're doing it in the comfort of your home.
Wow, that's amazing. I guess my last question would be about the future of the metaverse. Obviously, there was a lot of hype surrounding metaverse maybe a year or two ago. It seems to have died down a little bit. Obviously, I guess the hype is now more and more on AI, right? Chat GPT and all that. And we seem to be moving away from the metaverse. I know Mark Zuckerberg has talked about recently how no, they're still continuing to spend money on the metaverse and building that out. So hasn't gone away, maybe just on the back burner. But what do you think the future holds for the metaverse and the Metaverse Group, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm still obviously a big believer in the metaverse, or I wouldn't be sitting here today still. But we believe that just like any other technology, going back to the mid '90s when I started as a banker in technology, is there's troughs and peaks and valleys and all that wonderful stuff. And now is the time, and Metaverse Group is doing this, is to put our head down and build out quality products that have product market fit. I believe that ultimately everyone is going to have a 3D immersive experience as part of their website or a social media experience in the future. And so we're not seeing anything. AI is fantastic, and AI is part of our business model in the sense that we're using AI to build out our experiences, and everyone should. It's additive to everyone's business. It's a tool that should be used and help with efficiency and help you drive the value of your business. And we're just going to continue to use that as a tool, and it will just be part of the Metaverse Group.
Sounds great. Lorne Sugarman, CEO of the Metaverse Group, thank you so much for being with us today, answering my questions regarding the Metaverse. Hopefully, we taught our viewers a little bit more about the Metaverse if they didn't. And I'm sure if they have more questions, they could always send them in to me, and maybe I'll send them off to you. Maybe you can help me answer some questions that we get later on. So thank you again for being with us and taking the time out of your busy day.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show, and always happy to answer any questions. Nice seeing you.
All right, take care.